Joining me from Toronto is Prabhjot Singh. He's been a veteran journalist. He's also been the former bureau chief of Tribune. Prabhjot, thank you for joining us on India Today. You tell me, because when the RSMP also clarifies it, that even if they're looking at the pro-Khalistan elements, not the Sikh community, and that means India isn't targeting the community at large. What do you think happened on the ground? This is unprecedented that India, Canada, otherwise friendly, now have downgraded their ties completely. It's a collapse.
This is not exactly like that. India and Canada always had this sort of relationship. You see, way back when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister, even at that time, she had sought help from then Prime Minister, the sitting Prime Minister's father, Pierre Trudeau.
Pierre Trudeau.
Canadian land is being used for anti-India campaign and Sikh militants are using. And Pierre Trudeau didn't pay much attention to that. And then that nuclear explosions, because the Canadian thought that they had been supplying nuclear material to India for use in social purposes. But the nuclear reactor, the Cyrus, which was sent from Canada to India, so they held this was not a done thing when India did the explosion in Pokhran, and then Canada imposed sanctions at that time, and Canada withdrew its diplomats from India. So that thing continued, and you see, but then when Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh visited Canada in 2010, so he had good impression, and he met all MPs. He had attended G20 summit. At good signs.
What do you think happened here, Prabhjot? That, that literally...
This is what I'm saying.
India has to say that I have to take back my diplomats. You're endangering their safety with these statements.
You see, this is something very serious, and no country can take it lightly, because if their diplomats are threatened anywhere in the world, because Canada is one country where a lot of such activities, like Canadian government has been accused of patronizing Khalistanis. They have been holding demonstrations outside Indian missions in Toronto, in Ottawa, other places, in Vancouver. And also, every day, they have been even burning Indian flag. So government of India had been asking Canadian government to please put a check on this. And the Canadian government, on the other hand, says, no, we have freedom of expression, and that's by rule of law, and we don't stop people, we don't take action as long as they are peaceful and they are holding demonstrations. But then this has been taken very seriously. And then also, the Indian community in Canada is also vertically divided because after that Kanishka thing, so whatever happened, and now the demand was raised, there should be a fresh inquiry. And then it was opposed by the ruling party MP itself in the House of Commons. One MP raises a demand for fresh petition, puts a fresh petition for a new inquiry. Other MP of the same ruling Liberal, he opposes it. He says, why their Sikhs are demanding, they are pro-Khalistan. So the relationship has been going topsy and turvy ever since, last time when Mr. Modi visited Canada in 2015, Stephen Harper was the Prime Minister. And the agreement and the joint statement issued at that time, if you read that, then you'll be surprised how come the relations have gone so bad in 9 years. What could be the reason?
What do you think possibly? Do you think it's because of the domestic elections there upcoming in Canada?
You see, I think somewhere we must realize this. Somewhere it is when the Liberals are in power in Canada, India's relation with Canada, they always very bad. Because when Pierre was president, as Prime Minister, Mrs. Gandhi had problems, and then nuclear explosion, and then sanctions, and now Justin Trudeau is Prime Minister. As long as Stephen Harper, Conservatives are in power, India were having good times, very good relationship with Canada. And nobody raised the issue in 2015. Only 9 years ago, when Mr. Modi came to Canada, his 2-day visit, he was in Toronto. And at that time, also, coincidence, elections were to be held in Canada, federal elections. And now the issue is again is in the boiling pot when anytime elections can be held, because the Liberal government is facing no confidence motion. It has already faced 2 motions Another motion is coming because this sitting of the House of Commons will continue till end of December, before Christmas. So maybe another resolution, and then the Conservatives are out to demand the dismissal of this government to resign, and because they say, okay, let there be a new vote, anti-carbon tax vote or whatever. And same thing is again happening. And you see, 4 days or 5 days ago, both prime ministers met during ASEAN summit.
That's what it was expected, at least despite the tensions and over this issue, because here I can tell you it does look like, why is Justin Trudeau going above and beyond for someone who's been a designated terrorist and gangster as per India, and there has been a certain checkered history with Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Prabhjot, I request you to please stay on with me, because what has happened is that to pull back the diplomats who India believes are facing literally a safety concern now. And also, in turn, India has expelled 6 top Canadian diplomats, including Canada's acting High Commissioner and Deputy High Commissioner. It's clear that India is not going to take Justin Trudeau and his government's provocations lying down, and therefore has taken this decision that if required, this red line will have to be drawn. You cannot be dragging in the envoys that India has officially sent to another nation and say that they also are possibly involved. So what led to it? It was Justin Trudeau himself and the statements that had come in. The Trudeau government designated Indian High Commissioner and other diplomats as persons of interest. Diplomats, officials who are there. Canada claims that Indian government agents are linked to murders, violent acts, organized crime. So this current escalation then came in the backdrop of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, but Trudeau is also claiming that he has credible proof. Indian government says that these are baseless charges. Let's listen into quick reactions that have come in, specifically on what Justin Trudeau has said. He's the Canadian Prime Minister, that led to Indian government saying, this is it.
I know the events of the past year and today's revelations have shaken many Canadians, particularly those in the Indo-Canadian and Sikh community. Many of you are angry, upset, frightened. I get that. This shouldn't happen. Canada and India have a long and storied history rooted in people-to-people ties, business and trade. But we cannot abide by what we're seeing right now. Canada fully respects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India. We expect the Indian government to do the same for Canada. As Prime Minister, it is my responsibility to provide reassurance to those who are feeling their safety has been compromised, but most importantly, it is my responsibility to take action and to never hesitate in doing what is necessary to protect Canadians. At the end of last week, I highlighted how incredibly important the meeting between our national security advisors in Singapore this weekend was going to be. He told me that he was aware of that meeting. I impressed upon him that it needed to be taken very, very seriously. The response of the Indian government has been to deny, to obfuscate, to attack me personally and the integrity of the Government of Canada and its officials and its police agency.
In February 2024, the RCMP created a multidisciplinary team to investigate and coordinate efforts to combat this threat. The team has learned a significant amount of information about the breadth and depth of criminal activity orchestrated by agents of the Government of India. Investigations have revealed that Indian diplomats and consular officials based in Canada leveraged their official position to engage in clandestine activities, such as collecting information for the Government of India, either directly or through their agents, and other individuals who acted voluntarily or through coercion.
The Government of Canada has done what India has long been asking for. Canada has provided credible, irrefutable evidence of ties between agents of the Government of India and a murder of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. Now it is time for India to live up to what it said it would do and look into those allegations. It is in the interest of both our countries and the peoples of our countries to get to the bottom of this. Canada stands ready to cooperate with India.